Stage 43 is the front suspension. You get the main chassis plate with this stage, but you won't be using it at this part of the build, so just put this away and keep it safe for later. With the chassis the correct way round, take the front upper suspension arm for the left side, make sure that the L printed on it is facing forward on the chassis, and fit that over the two holes on the chassis here on the suspension. And then you're going to be fitting a type Z screw right the way through the two holes on the arm plus the two holes on the chassis, like that, and then tighten that up, but don't over tighten it because this has to move the same as the rear suspension. Once tightened, check that it moves freely, like this. Then take the left lower front suspension arm and fit this across these two holes on the chassis on the underside, like this, with the L, the marked L facing forward again, and secure that with a type Z screw going through both holes in the arm and the chassis. You fit in the screw from the front towards the rear. You don't need to over tighten this screw again, the same with all the other screws in the suspension. Just tighten it enough so that it's held in place but it can still move freely, like this. Next, take the left front wheel and steering knuckle and fit the top of the tube from the steering knuckle into the hole in the upper suspension arm, like this, and then fit the lower tube into the hole in the lower suspension arm, like this. Turn the assembly over and then fit a type T screw into the hole in the lower tube and tighten that up with the wrench. Like that. Next, screw in a type W screw into the lower suspension arm, and this goes through the hole in the lower spring, so that secures the spring bottom to the lower arm. Just tighten that in all the way. With that screw fitted, you can then fit another type T screw into the top hole of the hub. And that's how the left side should look when it's all fixed together. You can test the steering side to side, also test the suspension up and down as well. You now need to repeat all those steps onto the right hand side of the front chassis. With all the parts of the front suspension secured to the front wheel hubs, you should end up with both wheels moving freely side to side. And you can also test the front suspension then by pressing down on the chassis, and it should all move freely without any sticking. Next, turn the chassis over upside down and level the wheels. Take the front stabilizer bar and check that the rise in the bar is facing upward as the chassis is upside down. Then fit the hole in the end of the bar underneath the lower suspension arm. and you're going to be securing that with a type H screw going through this hole in the arm here. Just secure it loosely for now until you get the other one in place on the underside of the other lower arm. And then with two in place you can tighten them both up. And with that tightened into place, that completes stage 43 of the build. Keep any spare screws left over for future stages.